Okay, everybody. Well, here we are, another Sunday. Kind of a damp and drizzly Sunday. Um, but here we are. It's noon. It's Sunday. Today we are going to focus on combing out little Mimi here from the set that I spontaneously decided to put in on last Sunday. I'm just going to show what that looks like. And because her head is so small, it doesn't take many curls to get the look we're going for. Like in the back, there's only 6 curls. And then on the sides, 6 and 6. So we have a grand total of 18 curls. And we've made, it's kind of hard to see, but I've made a zigzag part so that it doesn't become like a hard part, which would be something that in 1940s a hard part would be expected. But I'm trying something a little different. We're just going to try and see if we can't get just some nice soft waves out of this this style. Didn't really, her hair wasn't terribly wet when I decided to do this, and I didn't put any setting products in her hair. But it's been sitting for a week, so we'll see what we got out of this. So the first part, of course, is pulling all of the pins and curls out so we can see roughly what we have in the shaping, see if there was any point where I may have crimped the hair in such a fashion that it's super obvious. See what I'll have to, because like I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of crimping here where the little single prong clip got in a little too much hair in the subsection. But there we have that. I'm going to use my bigger 9-row Denman brush because it's the one that is currently clean. All the rest of my Denman brushes are in the sanitizer from a week's worth of doing hair. So all I'm doing right now is combing out, combing over my hand, combing down, combing forward, so we can see where the hair wants to go. You know, it could be, with the exception of that little guy, it could be the start of like a nice page boy shaping where, you know, it comes down and tucks in, but I haven't decided yet. We will see as we get there. I hope the lighting's okay. It seems like, back it up a little bit, see what we can see. Trying my best. Still somewhat unsure how to get the best results. I don't have a filming studio, so we have to see what we get out of this. I'm just combing it from my hand, and now I have a cute, fun little twist there. Like I said, I still don't know exactly what kind of style I'm aiming for. I like to, in a lot of cases, let the hair dictate really what it's going to do, because I don't expect that even with all of my experience, I'm still not the hair whisperer. I'm still not able to even get a good idea, but I'm not fully able to turn an idea into an exact final product. A lot of times I'll have a vague idea of what I'm going to get out of a hairstyle, especially if I'm following a set pattern. If I'm following an old styling guide, say from the 40s or 50s, maybe even the 60s, I have a little better idea of what I'm going to get out of it, or at least what I should be aiming for. But even with that, I know that I'm not always going to get what I'm necessarily thinking I'm going to get. Like, it just doesn't always work out the way that you want it to in its own way. So like this, aside from that little front guy, isn't a terrible go of it. If you just did your own hair, you could just style it up and let it be. I'm kind of bringing the curls out, using my fingers to emphasize some of the curl, give her a new look, slightly different styling. Like, you could leave it like that, very kind of fun and, you know, kind of flirty. But I'm going to do a little bit more with it. I think I'm going to aim somewhat towards a little bit more of a page boy shaping, while letting it still kind of dictate where it's going to go, because why not? As you can see, though, it's a fairly simple method. Like, you could leave it as is, put a little hairspray in it, call it a day. I'm going to go ahead and throw my clip on the floor. That's the first thing. I'm going to go ahead and part her out a little bit and see what kind of style with a little more, what's the word? A little more structure, a little more function. I don't know if the words function's what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is work in the back, and I'm going to turn her around in just a second once I part everything where I want it. I mean, that's a look. Good. Run with that, throw some pins in, call it a day. But see if I can come in. I'm going to use a little bit of hairspray, just to give my, give a little hold, a little grip. I'm going to see if I can also get a better, if I can get the lighting a little better. I don't know. I hope that you can kind of see. So I'm just going to spritz a little bit, kind of air it out for a second, and then we're going to back comb just a bit. Back comb just a bit. And then tuck the hair underneath. Because what I'm going for is that smooth into the page boy styling that was very popular in the 1940s. A lot of times when I'm doing these sets, especially when I kind of just decide on the fly, I don't know what exactly I'm going to get out of them. So just a little hairspray, not a lot. And you may have noticed I'm using my teasing comb with the little pick on the end, which will come in handy a little bit later. Come in underneath. Try not to wrench my wrist off as I'm showing the process. And just take it, direct it, using my hand, using the pick, and basically ensuring that the hair is rolling underneath. and then just lightly comb through. Like you can see here, maybe, let me bring her a little closer. Like you can see that there's like a big old crimp right here where apparently a pin got sort of misplaced. Luckily, we can cover and hide that as we scoot along and come through and comb. Yeah, there's a few places where like there's a little crinkle here, a little crinkle there. And the nice thing is that this is mostly hidden in the under section, so very few people, if any, will even see it or notice. Unless you point it out, which I'm sometimes guilty of doing, is pointing out when I've completely screwed something up. Although sometimes I'll just leave it and instead of calling it a defect, call it a feature. Do one of those, no, it's supposed to look like that. No, this is how I planned it the whole time. This is what it's supposed to look like. We'll just smooth that. Because when we get done with the back and we get this shaping, then we'll put some clips in to put in that solid, solid line. Continuing in the process. Once more, take the section, comb it out, although she's nice and well combed. Plus I believe I put some oil in before I cut her hair. So while she didn't have setting lotion, she at least had something in there. So coming up, little back combing, little back combing, little back combing. And notice that I'm always going in the underneath because we want to try to keep this top section, even though it's buried in here, we're trying to keep it as smooth as possible. So wrapping that around, using my pick end to give a little shape, keep kicking things. My apologies. Keeping that page boy shaping going. Just giving it a little guidance, knowing that we'll come in and bring it a little tighter once we get to the end of the styling. Because I'm going to, the back is still going to stay fairly simple. It's going to be the front and sides that will have a little more of the, what I might call the style, the flair. Like you want the back to look good. You don't want it to look forgotten, but at the same time, most people aren't really staring at the back of your head. They might. People are strange that way. Throwing everything on the floor today. Didn't do it. You saw nothing. But generally speaking, very, very few, if anybody, any people are going to be staring at the back of your head. So you just need it to look, quote unquote, good enough. Like nice and smooth, definitely combed out, definitely stylish, just not, it doesn't have to have as much detail, I guess is the way to put it. You don't have to put in as much of the effort into the back, even though I am putting quite a bit of detail into this back section of the hair. But it's just not going to have as much like wavy, curly flair to it as one might expect out of a style from a set. Most times, especially in the 40s, the back was relatively simple, neatly arranged, but not anything that was too technical, not anything that was too too complicated, because you're going to have to, if you are a woman in the 40s and you are thinking about getting a hairstyle, you're going to have to touch it up at home. And a lot of ladies, even nowadays, can't really work with the back of their hair. They have a really hard time getting to it, seeing it, and it makes it incredibly difficult to maintain a style if you can't see the back of your head. So you need, if you were someone who was considering getting your hair set and styled, you'd want something that didn't have a lot of fuss in the back, so that you could come in and have the ability to not mess with it. Like, you wouldn't have to worry about, it's just not going to work. I'm going to have to use clips. You would want something that was potentially smoother, something that was simpler, so that way you could be relatively well assured that your style would keep throughout the whole week until you made your way back to the salon. And having something that is simple is a good way to encourage your the ease of maintenance at home. A little extra hairspray, and let that sit and rest while we start working on the side. So I'm going to start with my left side, because it is the side without the fringe. And we'll just same idea, is just comb through, a little bit of hairspray, just a little bit, and come up and back comb so that everything kind of sticks together. That's a big selling point here. And because we want it to flow, we're just going to set that there and continue on. Same technique the whole way through. We're not doing anything terribly fancy, just functional. The fanciness comes from the... So as you can see, I'm using my little comb here to encourage a little blend. Tell those little hairs to lay down. We don't need them up and about. And just let that kind of fall in where it's gonna be. But I'm not getting too terribly persnickety just yet. I'll get persnickety in a minute. No, just a little hairspray coming in underneath. Give it a little bit of a back comb. A lot of that's just for blending purposes. As we're bringing the hair to join. And this might be a good time to sneak a clip in here just to encourage the shaping. And we tuck this right down and around so that it keeps that going. And then tuck that. There we go. And our last little subsection. This one will be much like we did with the back side. It's a little bit thicker so we can have the smoothness on the top. Coming in. Okay, good. You kind of see what the heck I'm doing. And then we're going to once more utilize the pick part of the comb to start shaping and keep that where I want it. And sometimes, you know, things, it's like, I think sometimes things fall into place in a manner that I find aesthetically pleasing, so then I don't want to, now I can use my big pins just for structure. There we go. And it seems like that is a pleasing style. So now we'll just spray it again and let it rest. Fairly well blended, fairly smooth. And just let that be. I will show you what it looks like from the front on our way around. So she just has this really super cute little curl there. Now we're going to come around to the other side and work out what we're doing both in the side and, excuse me again, in the side and then also through the top, which might be considered the fringe section. But the important part right now is blending the side here into the back. So that's the first most important part. And I apologize, I keep whacking into the camera stand, so I do apologize for that. That's a little awkward. Tuck that around. I'm just gonna go ahead and actually put a clip in this right here to get it to stay a little bit whilst we continue with the rest. There's nothing wrong with prepping hair and holding it together with a few clips until you're done with the styling. just going to pretend like that is not there. Clip that. And I'm going to put one more in here. There we go. Coming together. Just talk to myself. I love styling hair. I love working in these old-fashioned modes, as they might have been called at the time. The latest modes of the day would be whatever was coming forth from the international hairdressers, the latest from Paris, Milan, London, and then they get translated into the very latest fashions from. So you'd have stylists that were really like kept up on the trends, like really kept themselves abreast of everything that was happening worldwide, so they could offer the latest to their clientele. This will be the last one over here, so we'll do it like we did with the other side and the back. So coming in, my apologies, I'll try to come in underneath in both ways, with the hair and with the, smooth that out. Just adjust and arrange and re-clip. There we go. I'm going to use some of my big ones again just for creating some visual interest with the shapes of the hair, so that there's more to look at than just a little wave. We want to have visual interest, things where you look and go, oh, yeah, that is interesting to look at. So I'm going to spray this. Then, should we see? Go. Now we have a fringe, and I have to see what it might want to do. And I may give it a little lift and see. I think something like that might be nice. So now we're going to do this in just a couple pieces and then join them together and to make one large curl, and then let the hair adjust as it may. So just want to bring this together. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing here, and then we'll smooth it out once. I do want to have a little height here at the base, so we have a little something to work with. But we do want to, I'm going to use my bristle brush here for just a second. Grab And then we're just going to start placing pins for shape and direction. Continue to pin and shape. I love using the hairpins when I can so that I can see better what it is that I am up to. Pull this out since I don't think I'll need it anymore. And tucking this right up here. Sorry, I got quiet, kind of concentrating on what effect I'm wanting to get out of this little bit of styling. Okay. I just totally sprayed myself because I didn't aim it the right way. Now let's sit for a second. Move my hand off because genius. Genius, I tell you. So as you can see here that we have her set all the way around into nice page boy shaping through, especially through the back, and then into some more visual interest through the front. I'm going to start removing some clips carefully. That's the hardest part, is when you've done, especially when you've put like single prong spring clips, it can get really tricky to pull things off whilst still maintaining the style, because the clips get buried and it can be really difficult to pull them out without destroying the entirety of the style. Like this little guy buried in here. It's going to take me a minute to get it out. There we go. Just tuck that back right there. Figure out if I have any more hiding in here. I don't know that I do. So I'm going to start pulling the hairpins as well. I'm going to spray with some heavy duty hairspray. Smooth it out for the last time. And then she will be complete. We'll have a fully styled little Mimi. Just use some of the heavy duty hairspray. I am gonna spray it back a little ways because I don't want to destroy the styling. Just want to spray things down, and then I'm just using the rat tail comb to just kind of tuck a few things in, smooth things out, give it a little bit more shape. That way we can try and make her look like she's put together and smooth and shiny. And so here we have, and I of course will take pictures and post them as well. Of course the back is not terribly interesting, but that's on purpose. I love that her hair is so bright. Whitish silver, it's fantastic. And then we come around. And there we have it. Little Mimi. All dolled up and looking fancy. So there we have that. A nice little comb out for the day. I wanted to let everyone know that starting in October, my live streams are going to have to move to 2 o'clock because I have some other stuff going on that's not going to allow me to live stream at noon anymore. But that's not till October. So if you have any questions or want to see more ideas like this or something more modern, something different, by all means, let me know. Send me a comment, shoot me a message, anything. And I would love to hear any feedback you might have. And with all of that, I will see you next Sunday at noon. Talk to you soon. Bye.